All right, folks, good morning. All right, let's get started here. So for today, um, Tuesday, May 13th, we have the following information. We had the NIFB Small Business Index at 6 a.m., not a major report. Pre-market, we had the following information. Core CPI month over month came in weaker than expected. CPI month over month also came in weaker than expected, and CPI year over year came in weaker than expected. All right, so let's talk about that for just a second. CPI, change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers excluding food and energy. That's core CPI. Regular CPI is change in prices of goods and services purchased by consumers overall. And then we have CPI year over year, which of course is a measure of the change of those prices. Now, the thing here we have to understand is that what this basically means is that inflation is diminishing. Now, the reason why these numbers are coming in as red is because if we went back to the post financial crisis era, which would be, the QE era with, Ben Bernanke and Janet Yellen, et cetera, what they were basically looking for was they were trying to get inflation. They were saying, oh, the inflation rate's too low, we need inflation. But now that's the exact opposite. So the system here for Forex Factory hasn't caught up. So this is actually a positive number, believe it or not, because the name of the game now is for inflation to come down. Now, it doesn't mean there's literally no inflation, but inflation is supposed to be, according to the FOMC, at 2% per year. So basically 2.3% is still more than they want, but it's a lot closer to the number they actually want. If we look here, we can kind of see what these numbers are looking like. So for example, here, post the pandemic, we had inflation that would be lower than what they wanted. And then suddenly you see the massive increase, which of course we know was due to the very policies that these people were saying was only going to create, passing inflation, whatever. Well, obviously that didn't happen. So we peaked out in July 2022, where it hit 9.1%, which of course is massive. But if you look previous to that, you can see that all throughout the QE era, in principle, inflation tended to be lower than what they said they wanted. But anyway, that's just going into more of a history lesson. So those are the numbers. Now you have them, whatever. But technically, this is good news, but we'll see. The markets seem to respond favorably. Next report is at 4:30, so that's after market close, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, let's look at the pre-market. So the pre-market here shows me that the QQQ ETF is currently up, and yesterday's action was neutral, but remember that we gapped sharply higher from where we were on Friday due to that trade negotiation with China, where we have a temporary stay, not stay, but we have a temporary reduction of tariffs for the time being as the current administration and the Chinese delegation continue to negotiate. Whatever the case may be, the markets recognize that if there's a temporary stay, that does have a positive impact on trade, since trade is currently optimized for the status quo. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, so there we go. Now, that being said, let's take a look at which stocks were moving yesterday. And we didn't actually find anything. There were some potential opportunities, but they happened too quickly. Moderna was one. And if we look at it, the stock basically went vertical early in the session and then fell apart. So we weren't able to catch that one. Starbucks was another that did, I think it was Starbucks, that did a similar move. Yeah, very sharp move early and then it fell apart. So anything that did something like that, we weren't able to catch. I think there was one that went downwards that we missed as well. But basically, there were only three opportunities that I saw that might have been possible, and everything else was pretty much flat for the day or didn't show much progress. So we skipped it. All right, let's take a look at what's moving in the pre-market. Yesterday we had a ton of things, but as I mentioned, once the market opened, they kind of mostly fell flat. All right, so let's take a look here and see what we got. Let's see, my list still hasn't loaded yet. There it is. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here. ALZN is first. That is presently up 22.33% on 4.5 million shares, at least $1 per share. All right, so we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list. Symbol is ALZN. This stock does not have options. But it is active. Okay, but we're only looking at it in the pre-market for now. Maybe after the open too. Uh, let's check BDTX. This doesn't look like it's moved enough. Oh, it actually has 9.4% on 1.8 million shares, at least $1 per share. It doesn't look like it's very volatile in terms of its price move. It doesn't seem to be doing much. Next up is CNSP, which is presently up 100%, 51.6 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add CNSP to the list. Next up is DEVS, which is presently down, but it's down too much. It's under $1 per share, so I'll have to skip that one. We're going to take a look now at GRYP, which is presently up 13.38% on 18.7 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that GRYP to the list. Next up is INHD, which is presently up 55% on 8.4 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that INHD to the list. Next up is KDLY, which is presently up about, down about 3.8%, so not enough, so we'll skip that. Next up is LICN, which is presently up 65% on 6.4, maybe 6.5 million shares. It's at least $1 per share, so we'll add that LICN to the list. Next up is, this one looks like it's a buyout deal. Let's see, LSEA. That looks like a buyout. Now let's see. Shares are trading higher after the company reported better expected. Also, the company announced that it entered into definitive agreement to be acquired by New Home. Yep. So that's a buyout. So that one's not going to do anything for us. So we'll skip that. Let's check out LUNR Lunar. That's currently up 14% on 1.7 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll add LUNR. Next up is, let's check microalgo. That doesn't look like it's moved enough, but it has. It's moved up about 8% on 3 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll add MLGO. Doesn't look like it's moving too much today, but it is up. Okay, next up is MVST, which is presently up 7.5%, 1.3 million shares roughly, at least $1 per share. So we'll add MVST to the list. Let's see. NVIDIA is up. I don't think, I'm certain it's not up enough. So it's up 1.5%, which means MVDL is not going to be up enough either. So we'll skip that. Next up is PLTR, Palantir. That's only up 0.46%, so we'll skip that. Next up is QBTS. Oh, wait a minute, no, that's a New York stock. Never mind. Next up is RDHL, which is presently neutral, so nothing there, so we'll skip that. Let's check out RGTI, which is presently down 10% on 4.3 million shares, at least $1 per share, so that qualifies. We'll add RGTI to our list. Next up is SoundHound. Okay, nothing there. Tesla, let's see, that looks like it is up. I'm not sure how much. Only 0.5%. It looked more, I guess it looked stronger because it gapped down at first. Um, and then lastly, we have WAFU, which is currently down 12.8% on 2.6 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that WAFU to the list. All right, folks, if you have any other stocks meeting all four criteria, let me know in the chat. The four criteria are: it must be a NASDAQ listed stock trading at least $1 per share in the current pre-market, must have achieved at least a 6% price change, positive or negative at this time, and at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume. Okay, LOBO, that is currently up 175% on 52 million shares, at least $1 per share. Okay, so we'll add that. XHG, which is presently 26.34% up and 14.8 million shares. Okay, so we'll add XHG. CONO, that's currently up 22%, 1.8 million shares, at least $1 per share, so we'll add that. OPRX, which is presently up about 23%. Well, actually, why that? Oh, OPRX, we can't do anything because the volume's too low, Jen. It's only 4,600 shares. Coinbase, let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, that skipped my radar. Coinbase is up 11.3% on 1.3 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll add that. That must be, no, that's good news for Coinbase. They should. I mean, they're definitely representative of their industry, so they should join. All right, so that's it. So we'll go ahead and wrap up for today's pre-market pulse. Please be sure to like the video. I see we have 7 likes, more than 7 people watching, so please be sure to like the video. It greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notifications when we produce a new video. If anyone's watching this video on a replay and you're not familiar with our company, check out fundertrading.com, our website. You'll see a link in the description to this video. Other than that, for everyone's part of the coaching program, I'll see you there in about 12 minutes. We'll pick up for today's trading session. All right, folks, have a great trading day, and I'll see you for tomorrow's pre-market pulse. Take care.